Hey, we're at New York Comic Con. I'm talking to Scott Snyder. There is this new book coming from IDW that's part of the Dark Spaces line that you've been kind of shepherding for the company. It's been incredible.
Oh, thank
this
you.
new series, or this new book that's coming out, new artist, but you've worked with him before on Wildfire.
Yep.
You know, you've been working kind of like in the indie space a lot over the last couple of years.
I have.
And really exploring the kind of like darker edge of humanity. And of course you're known for being more supernatural.
Yep.
But this one in particular is a little more grounded.
Yeah, that was the whole, there were like two big sort of attractive lures to doing the series at IDW, Dark Spaces. One was if I did sort of books of my own, they would also be able to foreground new talent. So we do a couple series that were also under the same umbrella, but bring in new writers, new artists. So I'm really proud of Good Deeds, Shea Grayson, and also Jeremy Lambert on Hollywood Special. And things coming up from that line that going to bring some great superstars to your home. But the other lure was to do something that I don't get to do in my other series. So with Comixology and with Image and all the books I do, like they're monsters or superheroes or creatures or all kinds of sci-fi stuff. And so for this, the idea was to do very grounded human stories that have no sort of meta elements at all. So this one, Wildfire, was about a bunch of women who were prisoners in a penitentiary in California and are brought out as part of a program to fight wildfires and decide to do a heist and steal this kind of safe from a house up on the hills. And Dungeon is, if that was a noir, this one's like a thriller. It's more like Silence of the Lambs. It's about a serial killer who takes people and puts them in sort of dungeons that he's created around the country, and they're literally just sort of rooms where the original meaning of the word dungeon was called an oubliette. In French, it's like to be forgotten.
Yeah.
And so the idea is essentially he takes you, puts you in there, controls your life for 20, 30 years and kills you. And it's about a detective hunting this guy down. So it's like very, very like race against time, but it's very real world. So it's a fun space to get to do things that I don't get to do in some of my other books.
Absolutely. I think that makes it a little more scary because it's more like in the real world.
I know. I have to I can't cut corners. It can't be a monster.
Yeah, it can't be like third act.
Exactly. There's no magic nth metal or any of that stuff I have to actually solve for X. It's a lot.
Now, how long is Dungeon running for?
It's 5 issues. I'm really excited. Yeah, Hayden Sherman, again, I can't say enough good things about them. They've done some DC work also. You got to follow them on everything. They're with Sean Lewis on a bunch of Image stuff as well. But they're just like a rising superstar, co-creator on the book. I'll work with them forever, so they're great.
And after Dungeon, what's next?
Oh, man. When I left DC, every year at DC, I fought for a carve-out to be able to do an independent book. And I would get the carve-out after like these long, drawn-out battles with legal. And then I never used them because it was just, I never had time because I was running events. And so now the feeling was like, you know what, I want to just go for a couple years and do every sort of creative swing and risk with creators that I've always wanted to work with, some who I have worked with, but just every wild idea I've ever had, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten to do that. I did like 8 or 9 books that I'm deeply, deeply proud of and feel are some of the best things I've done, and gotten to work with people that have inspired me. And now the goal is to sort of do the opposite and now winnow it down to a couple books. Do just a couple projects, one in a superhero space, can't talk about it yet, a couple indie things, Distillery, really committed to White Boat coming out with Francesco Francavilla, and then something else with them as well with Distillery, but trying to really focus in and make it, now just do immersive, more ongoing sort of comics that way. So the fun was like, I've been doing ongoing comics and I've had no chance to like explore creatively and do things that are push me outside my comfort zone. Let's do all of that. And now I've gotten to do that, and now it's more like, let's go back to kind of more sequential, ongoing comics and try that. I don't know. I don't make it just easy for myself.
I know.
Just stay with one thing.
Is it hard because after the Scotttober suite of books, just coming out swinging with some of the best talent in the industry, and also some of your best work, just these really and very personal, very uniquely creative outlets. I can imagine that was so much fun, especially because it was kind of like around the time of the pandemic and towards the end of it. So you were like kind of hole up, just creating.
Yeah.
At this point, is it harder to kind of like narrow down and be like, man, it's hard to focus now. I'm so used to making like 7 or 8 things.
Oh no. I feel like part of it was like, I had never gotten to do any of that stuff. Like I hadn't gotten to do a historical adventure. I hadn't gotten to do a sci-fi book. I hadn't gotten to do, a pure sort of
Spielbergian horror,
right,
like
exactly,
or
a YA book like Dudley, or with my son, the book that came out this week.
What's the
By a Thread, Comixology. My son Jack, he's going to be here on Sunday. He's 16. He's awesome. He's a better writer than I was by his age, easily. I'll be working for him soon. But the point is, like, to get to do all these things that I hadn't done, even with Greg doing We Have Demons, we never got to work in a creator-owned space. We never got to just be like, there's no restrictions. You can make anything you want. And so having been able to do all of that, I don't feel like it's very hard to be like, now I want to create a couple series where I can lose myself, like American Vampire, like Batman, that feeling of being able to say, we're going to stay with these for a long time. We're going to tell long form stories. We're going to dive in and Easter eggs and all of that, as opposed to sort of singular modular stories that are like, this is the whole thing in one creative blast.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where I think I'm going to go. I mean, that's where I know. I mean, I am going there, but it's more like,
you feel like it's compelling. Like you're
very
happy
compelling.
to go there.
Yeah, I miss those muscles. I feel like, you got to be. I teach this class on Substack, and I love it. And the 2 rules of the class are always like, you have to write the story or the comic that you would love to find the most that day. And secondly, you have to try and remain the most exciting creator to yourself. And for me, it's that. It's like when something gets too comfortable, then you pivot. You try something else. So you can fall on your face in front of the whole industry and embarrass yourself. But the fun is like that. It's like always taking a risk, always trying to be like, okay, I know I can do this. I'm comfortable in this zone. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's always be growing and trying new things. So,
absolutely.
That's the hope.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a really exciting time. I'm really looking forward to this book, which comes out, I believe, October 25th.
Yes, that's right.
So check that out as well. And of course, looking forward to more.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, ComicPop, amazing channel. I've been like watching them forever. But if you see this video and it's like your first video, or why, I don't know why it would be, but if for some reason, go back and check out everything because they're amazing. They have stuff on every sort of great comic topic, every creator. Sal's amazing. Everybody there is amazing. Go watch everything ComicPop.
Thank you very much.
I have a hat.
I have to pay you back for that.
No, I actually had the baseball cap. I was telling him before it started. I brought it, and
Did
it's
you
in
really?
my hotel room.
Oh my God!
I didn't know I should have looked. It just said said press, or I would have.
It would have been very chilly.
I think I would have worn my cap. I would have worn my cap.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
They're
It's very
great.
kind.
Go
Scott
follow
Snyder.
them.
Check him out. Of course, you know him.